Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is Shivanshu Shukla. Here I am with the third part of this video series. This video series will not only help those who are going to give BHU exam but also for every geology student. This part of series contains 30 fully explained questions of optical mineralogy and petrology. So let's start. The first question says, the highest relief will be shown by which one of the following minerals? To answer this question, first let's know what is relief. Relief is the degree to which mineral grains stand out from the mounting medium. Now, higher the difference between refractive index of mineral grain and refractive index of mounting medium, higher the relief of the mineral grain. In this case, say mounting medium is Canada balsam, whose refractive index is 1.54. Now, relief is categorized as high relief, moderate relief, and low relief. A mineral is said to possess high relief when the difference between refractive index of mineral grain and Canada balsam is greater than 0.12. It is said to have moderate relief when the difference is between 0.04 to 0.12, and it is said to have low relief when difference is less than 0.04. Okay, again positive relief and negative relief. Relief is said to positive when the refractive index of mineral grain is higher than the refractive index of mounting medium, and a relief is said to be negative when refractive index of mineral grain is less than the refractive index of mounting medium. So let us consider this question in which we have to tell that which mineral have the highest relief. To answer this question, we should first find the difference between the refractive index of mineral grain and Canada balsam. Okay, so for mineral A, whose refractive index is 1.42, the difference is 0.12. For mineral B, whose refractive index is 1.54, the difference is 0.10. For mineral C, whose refractive index is 1.59, the difference is 0.05. For mineral D, whose refractive index is 1.62, the difference is 0.08. So in all these four minerals, mineral A had the highest difference between refractive index of mineral A and Canada balsam. So mineral A will have the highest relief, and mineral C have the least difference, that is 0.05. So mineral C will show least relief. Okay, so I think this is clear now. If you have any query related to relief, please comment down below. Next question is, a mineral is in extinction position when its vibration plane is parallel to. Okay, so extinction is a optical property of mineral in Cross-Nichols, and it occurs when the vibration direction of mineral grains are parallel to lower polar and upper polar. Lower polar is known as polarizer and upper polar is known as analyzer. So as far as this question is concerned, both the option vibration direction of polarizer and vibration direction of analyzer, both these options are correct. Okay, next question is, a mineral has three values for its refractive indices. The mineral crystallizes in. Okay, so to answer this question, first you should know which minerals have three values of refractive indices. So all those minerals which are biaxial in nature have three values of refractive indices. All those minerals which are uniaxial in nature have two values of refractive indices, and all those minerals which are isotropic in nature have only one refractive indices. Now let us see these options. First one is cubic system. So mineral crystallizes in cubic system are isotropic in nature and have only one refractive indices. Mineral crystallizes in tetragonal crystal system and hexagonal crystal system are uniaxial in nature and have two values for refractive indices. While mineral crystallizes in orthorhombic crystal system, monoclinic and triclinic, these are biaxial in nature and have three values for refractive indices. So here the correct answer is orthorhombic crystal system, because orthorhombic crystal system are biaxial in nature and have three values for refractive indices. Next question is, in uniaxial minerals there is no double refraction along which crystallographic axis. What is meaning of no double refraction? No double refraction means that mineral will behave like isotropic mineral. Okay, so in case of uniaxial mineral, when light ray passes parallel to the optic axis or passing along the direction of optic axis, then the uniaxial mineral will act as isotropic mineral. Okay, now in case of uniaxial mineral, the optic axis is C axis, which is perpendicular to both A axis and B axis. Okay, so here the correct answer is C axis. The second case is when light ray passes perpendicular to the optic axis. The ray splits into two rays. Okay, the light ray splits into two rays, and there is double refraction takes place, and in that case birefringence is maximum. While in this case, when light ray passes parallel to the optic axis, as there is no double reflection takes place, birefringence is minimum in this case, or you can say birefringence is zero in this case. Next question is, the optic axis in biaxial Mindel always lie in. So what is optic axis? The direction perpendicular to the two circular sections are known as optic axis. Okay, in case of biaxial Mindel, the circular sections are xy plane and yz plane, and these optic axis, the optic axis are lie in the xz plane, and for biaxial Mindel, this xz plane is also known as optic plane. Why? Because this plane contains the optic axis. So clearly optic axis in biaxial Mindel always lie in xz plane. So the correct answer is xz plane. While xy plane and yz plane are circular sections that are perpendicular to the optic plane. Okay, next question is, which Mindel shows one set of cleavage in thin section? See, cleavage is a diagnostic property of Mindel in thin section. Okay, so to answer this question, we should know that these Mindel shows how many sets of cleavage. So first one is muscovite, which belongs to mica family, and this shows one set perfect cleavage, and which is basal cleavage, you can say. Okay, again next is calcite, which is a carbonate Mindel and crystallizes in hexagonal crystal system, have three set of cleavage, and it is this three set of cleavage is also known as rhombohedral cleavage. Okay, again wollastonite, which is a pyroxenite Mindel, and this Mindel have two perfect cleavage in cross section and one set in prismatic section. Again microcline is a K feldspar Mindel. Okay, and it have two set of cleavage nearly at right angle to each other. So as far as this question is concerned, which Mindel shows one set of cleavage? The correct answer is muscovite. Next question is, the Mindel commonly shows euhedral shape. Now what is euhedral shape? Euhedral shape is well-defined crystal shape. Okay, well-defined crystal shape. So the first one, quartz is usually anhedral. Okay, zircon Mindel have usually euhedral crystal shapes. Microcline is also usually anhedral, and muscovite is subhedral. Okay, so the correct answer is zircon, in which crystal shapes are usually euhedral. That is, in zircon, the crystal shapes are well defined, or you can say sharp edges are present. Now next question is, inclined extensions are shown by which of the following Mindel sets? Now here there are four options in which there are three Mindels in each option. So the correct answer will be in which both three of the Mindels show inclined extensions. Okay, so first of all, inclined extension occurs when the cleavage or length is at some angle to the crosshair. Okay, and it is shown by many pyroxene and amphibole Mindel, and many monoclinic and all the triclinic crystals exhibit inclined extension. Okay, so the first option is andesine, hornblende and kyanite. Andesine, you know, it is a plesioclase Mindel and crystallizes in triclinic crystal system. As it crystallizes in triclinic system, it shows inclined extension. Hornblende belongs to amphibole family and it shows inclined extension, though it is monoclinic, but it belongs to amphibole family, that's why it shows inclined extension. Next is kyanite crystallizes in triclinic crystal system and it shows inclined extension. The first set in which all these three Mindels shows inclined extension, so the correct answer is option 1. Now let's see other options also. Augite is a pyroxene, clinopyroxene, and it shows inclined extension, while muscovite is a mica Mindel, it shows straight extension, and beryl shows parallel extension. Okay, next option is biotite shows straight extension, tourmaline shows parallel extension, while quartz shows wavy extension. In both these options, all these three Mindels have shows different type of extension. Okay, option 4, number 1 is garnet. Garnet is isotropic. Okay, so it is extinct throughout the 60-degree rotation. Microcline, as crystallizes in triclinic crystal system, it is inclined. It shows inclined extension. Hypasthene belongs to pyroxene group of Mindel and it shows inclined extension. So in all these three options, all these three Mindels doesn't show inclined extension. Okay, so the correct answer is option 1, in which all these three Mindels shows inclined extension. Okay, next question is, Which mineral is isotropic under the microscope? Okay, so only those minerals that crystallizes in the cubic system are isotropic under the microscope. So we should know these minerals crystal system. So first one is elmendine. Elmendine is a garnet mineral and it crystallizes in cubic system. So as it crystallizes in cubic system, it will be isotropic under the microscope. So the correct answer is elmendine. Next option is biotite. Biotite is a mica mineral and it is monoclinic. It crystallizes in monoclinic crystal system. So it is anisotropic in nature. All those minerals which crystallizes other than cubic system are anisotropic under the microscope. Okay. Next one is tourmaline. Tourmaline crystallizes in hexagonal crystal system and it is also anisotropic in nature. Okay. Next question is isochromatic lines are seen as a part of the interference figure in. So first of all, what are isochromatic lines? Isochromatic lines are the color bands that wrap around the trace of optic axis in case of uniaxial mineral and that wrap around the optic axis in case of biaxial mineral. So basically these color bands are present both in uniaxial minerals and as well as biaxial mineral. Okay, so first option is tetragonal minerals, second is hexagonal minerals. So both these tetragonal minerals and hexagonal minerals are uniaxial in nature. Okay, third option is monoclinic minerals, monoclinic, orthorhombic and triclinic. These three are biaxial in nature. So basically this is biaxial. Okay, so and by definition these isochromatic lines are present both in a uniaxial mineral and a biaxial mineral as well. So the correct answer is all of the above. Next question is calcite is. So calcite crystallizes in hexagonal crystal system. As it crystallizes in hexagonal crystal system, it is uniaxial in nature. So option third and option fourth are eliminated because it contains biaxial positive and biaxial negative. Now uniaxial minerals are again divided into two categories, uniaxial positive and uniaxial negative. Uniaxial positive mineral are those in which velocity of extraordinary ray is less than velocity of ordinary ray, and uniaxial negative mineral are those in which velocity of extraordinary ray is greater than velocity of ordinary ray. So basically calcite belongs to uniaxial negative mineral. Along with calcite, beryl and tourmaline are other common minerals which are uniaxial negative in nature. Okay, and uniaxial positive, in case of uniaxial positive, quartz, zircon and rutile, these three are common minerals which are uniaxial positive in nature. Okay, so basically the question is asking about calcite. So calcite is uniaxial negative. So correct answer is uniaxial negative. Next question is inclined extinction is shown by. So what is inclined extinction? I told you earlier, inclined extinction occurs when the cleavage or length is at some angle to the crosshairs. Okay, and it is shown by pyroxenes, amphiboles. All those minerals that crystallizes in triclinic crystal system exhibit inclined extinction, and also many monoclinic minerals also exhibit inclined extinction. Okay, but the options are calcite. Calcite shows symmetrical extinction. Basal section of augite and basal section of hornblende, these both shows symmetrical extinction. Okay, so basically all these three options are examples of symmetrical extinction. So the correct answer is none of the above, because all these three options shows symmetrical extinction and question is asking about inclined extinction. Next question is spinifex texture is found in which rock? So what is spinifex texture? Spinifex texture, like say there is ultramafic lava like comatite present, and this is basically of Archean, basically of Archean time. So this ultramafic lava quenched. Now because of quenching there is formation of spectacular elongated olivine or pyroxene crystals. Okay, now these spectacular elongated olivine and crystals which are developed, these give a rock spinifex texture, and this spinifex texture is restricted to comatite rock. Okay, so the correct answer is comatite. As far as lamprofire is concerned, the texture in lamprofire is panidiomorphic. The texture in tholite rock, tholite is a basalt containing plesioclase clinopyroxene and iron ore. Okay, so these often contain glass also. So but the texture found in tholite rock is fine grained texture. Sometimes it may be glassy, or you can say aphanitic texture, but mostly tholite have fine grained texture. Rhyolite is a volcanic rock which is equivalent of granite also, and it shows spherulitic texture. Okay, now this spinifex texture. Let's talk about spinifex texture. Spinifex texture derive its name from the spinifex grass, which is a grass with coarse spiny leaves and spiny flowers. Okay, and it is because of presence of long acicular phenocrysta olivine or pyroxene, which gives comatite bladed appearance. And this spinifex grass was occurring from East Asia to Australia. Okay. So as far as this question is concerned, spinifex texture is found in which rock? So the correct answer is comatite. Comatite is ultramafic rock, basically of Archean time. Next question, dolerite shows which texture? Again, to answer this question, we should know that these texture are shown by which rock. So first of all, ophitic texture. In ophitic texture, large pyroxene grains enclosing small random plagioclase, and this texture is shown by dolerite or diabase. Okay, and dolerite, as question is asking, dolerite shows which texture? So ophitic texture is shown by dolerite. Next one is panidiomorphic. In panidiomorphic texture, most of the grains are of euhedral shape. Okay, and it is panidiomorphic texture is shown by lamprophires. Next one is electromeorphic. In electromeorphic, most of the crystal grains are anhedral in shape, and this is shown by applied rock. These lamprophires and applieds both are hypabasal rock. Next one is serrate texture. Serrate texture is texture in which there is continuous gradation in grain size. Okay, and this texture is commonly shown by plagioclase in some andesite porphyrites. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, dolerite shows which texture? The correct answer is ophitic texture. You can say if this question were asking about diabase, so yeah, diabase and dolerite are both are the same, only the nomenclature is different. So dolerite or diabase shows ophitic texture. Next question is eutectic crystallization of quartz and K feldspar give rise to. So what is eutectic crystallization? Eutectic crystallization means simultaneous crystallization. Okay, simultaneous crystallization of quartz and K feldspar basically. So first one is hypidiomorphic texture. Hypidiomorphic texture is the texture when most grains are subhedral. Okay, porphyritic texture formed by two stages of cooling. Graphic texture formed by simultaneous crystallization of quartz and K feldspar from a granitic lava. Okay, and this is the texture which is characteristic of granitic rock. So basically this question is asking about eutectic crystallization of quartz and K feldspar give rise to. So the correct answer is graphic texture, in which there is simultaneous crystallization of quartz and K feldspar from a granitic lava. Okay, so the correct answer is graphic texture. Next question is, in the IUGS classification, the field of diorite falls near which end of the triangle? Okay. So basically this is a QAP diagram, and field of diorite at this end, at quartz end, the rock which form is known as quartzolite. Okay, in which quartz is greater than 90%. At this end, the rock which formed is known as K feldspar syenite at this part. Okay, in which alkali feldspar is greater than 90%, or you can say 95%. And at this end, at plagioclase, the rock which form is diorite, gabbro or anorthosite. So the correct answer is plagioclase. As question were asking, the field of diorite, so the field of diorite is falls near the end of plagioclase. Next question, the periclase silica phase diagram exhibit. Basically this is a very good question. Okay, now periclase silica phase diagram, periclase, that is MgO. Okay, periclase silica phase diagram is associated with forestite silica diagram. Okay, and in the forestite silica phase there are presence of eutectic point, peritectic point and liquid immiscibility as well. Okay, so basically because forestite silica phase diagram contains eutectic point, peritectic point and liquid immiscibility as well. So periclase silica phase diagram will also exhibit eutectic point, peritectic point and liquid immiscibility as well. Basically the correct answer is all of the above. If you know something more about periclase silica phase diagram, please comment down below. Next question is, as per the Bowman reaction series, the correct order of crystallization is shown by. So basically Bowman reaction series is the order in which mineral crystallizes from the cooling magma. Okay, in Bowman reaction series there are three branches. Number one is continuous branch, number second is discontinuous branch, and the third is residual phases. Okay, so continuous branch consists of northite, then northite, then bitumenite, then labradorite, andesine, oligoclase, and albite. All these are plagioclase feldspar. Because plagioclase feldspar are continuously present in this series, therefore this is called as continuous series. Okay, so next one is discontinuous series. In discontinuous series, the first mineral form is olivine, followed by orthopyroxene, clinopyroxene, amphibole, and biotite. And the last phase, which is residual phase, the first mineral crystallizes is K feldspar, then muscovite, and the final mineral which crystallizes is known as quartz. So basically, in all the Bowman reaction series, the first mineral which crystallizes is olivine at temperature of about 1400 to 1600 degrees Celsius. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, this question is asking about the correct order of crystallization, and basically as you see the options, basically this is asking you about the order of continuous series. So in continuous series, the first mineral is anorthite, bitumenite, then bitumenite, followed by labradorite, andesine, oligoclase, and albite. So in option, the first one is albite, then anorthite. So this is incorrect because albite is last, anorthite is the first. So this is the incorrect option. Then second option is anorthite, bitumenite, and labradorite. So yeah, this is the correct sequence: anorthite, bitumenite, and labradorite. So the correct answer is option second. Next one is albite, oligoclase, andesine. This is this is reverse order: albite, oligoclase, andesine. So this is also incorrect. Next option is anorthite, labradorite, bitumenite. Okay, after anorthite there is a mineral which is bitumenite. So this is also the incorrect statement. The first answer is the correct answer is anorthite, bitumenite, and labradorite. Next question is, which one is a type of meteorite? So what are meteorites? Meteorites are solid extraterrestrial objects that strike the surface of the earth after surviving passes through the atmosphere. Okay, so to answer this question, let's see these options. Number one is anthracite. Anthracite is the base rank of coal consisting of greater than 90% carbon content. So this is clearly not a meteorite. Antiselite and edulite. These words are out of my knowledge, or maybe these words are just examiner's imagination to just confuse the student. Okay, so if you know something about antiselite and edulite, or you have heard about these words, please comment down below. Next one is aubrite. Aubrite is an insetite rich achondrite meteorite. Okay, so basically aubrite is a meteorite. So the correct answer is option third, which is a meteorite. Next question is, cydromelane is a synonym for. So to answer this question, first know about cydromelane. Okay, so cydromelane is a vitreous basaltic volcanic glass usually occurring in palagonite tuff. To answer this question, let's see options also which match with cydromelane. Okay, so let's start with trachyte. Trachyte is a fine grained volcanic rock, and it is also volcanic equivalent of cyanite. This clearly doesn't match with the definition of cydromelane. Then next is boninite. Boninite is magnesium rich andesite or basaltic andesite. So basically this is also not synonym for cydromelane. Next one is basinite. Basinite is olivine tephra. This is clearly also not what this question is asking for. Next one is tachylite. Tachylite is a vitreous form of basaltic volcanic glass, and this definition matches with the definition of cydromelane. So clearly the definition clearly the synonym for cydromelane is tachylite. So option 1 is correct. Next question is, a cometite should contain. Okay, so we have discussed about cometite in question 73. Okay, that cometite is an ultramafic rock basically of Precambrian time or Archean time. So since cometite is an ultramafic volcanic rock, since it is an ultramafic rock, so it will contain mafic elements. Like if a mineral have calcium CaO greater than 16%, then it will considered as a calcic rock. If a rock have Na2O plus K2O content greater than 22%, then it is considered as alkaline rock. If a rock contain SiO2 greater than 54%, then it is considered as intermediate silicic rock. While if a rock contain MgO greater than 18%, then it is considered ultramafic rock. And since cometite is ultramafic rock, so ultramafic cometite should contain MgO greater than 18%. The correct answer is MgO greater than 14%. Okay, one more information: cometite not only contain MgO greater than 18%, but also it contains titanium oxide that is less than 1%. Okay, and cometite are divided into two parts. If cometite contain MgO greater than 18%, then it is known as cometite, and if it contain MgO less than 18%, then it is known as cometitic basalt. Okay, so but as far as this question is concerned, cometite should contain MgO greater than 18%. Next question is filter pressing is associated with. So first of all, we should know what is filter pressing. Filter pressing is also known as compaction. Now, filter pressing is basically a liquid separation process in deep melt source regions and under pressure. Okay, in this process, the crystal liquid system is squeezed like a sponge and liquid migrate from the compacted solid. So basically, this is the process of magmatic differentiation. Okay, so filter pressing is associated with magmatic differentiation. It is nothing to do with textures, volatiles and viscosity. Next question is pillow structure is shown by. So to answer this question, first know about pillow structure. Pillow structure form when basaltic lava flows enter standing water. They form either tongues or more equidimensional blob-like structures, and these are known as pillow structures. These are formed under submarine condition. Okay, so from the definition itself, it is clear that pillow structure is shown by basaltic lava. So the correct answer is basaltic lava. Okay, granite is a plutonic igneous rock. Rhyolite is its volcanic equivalent, and lamprey is a hypobasal rock. Next question is encaramite and picrite are types of. So first of all, you should know what is encaramite and what is picrite. So encaramite is a clinopyroxene rich basalt in which content of clinopyroxene is greater than olivine, while picrite is also a porphyritic olivine rich basalt. Okay, the important thing is it have porphyritic texture. So basically these encaramite and picrite both are basalt, and basalt is a volcanic basic volcanic igneous rock. Okay, so the correct answer is basalt. First one is the correct answer. Granite is a plutonic igneous rock. Fossil is totally out of the context, and lamprey are a hypobasal rock. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, basalt is the correct answer. Now, the very important question and the best question I can say till now, the condensed phase rule is given by the formula. So what is condensed phase rule? Let's learn condensed phase rule. Okay, so condensed phase rule is one in which we used to represent the phase diagram of a complex condensed system. Now this complex condensed system may be either liquid or solid. Okay, now say look at the phase rule, F is equals to C minus P plus 2. This is the formula for phase rule. Okay, you can say this is the phase rule, F is equals to C minus P plus 2, in which F is degree of freedom, number of degree of freedom, or you can say variance. C is number of components, P is number of phases. Okay, and this 2 is for two variables, that is temperature, for two constant, that is for two variables, that is temperature and pressure. Okay, so consider this phase rule for one phase, that is P is equals to 1, and for components equals to 2, number of components equals to 2. Why? Because a two component system is the simplest of multi-component system. Okay, so let's consider this phase rule for phase equals to 1 and component equals to 2. So F will be 3, that is variance will be 3. Now the phase diagram will have 3 dimensions, and this is difficult to represent. Okay, and it is only for two component system. For components more than 2, the situation becomes more complicated. Now to reduce this complexity, the way is to fix one of the variables. I told you there are two variables, temperature and pressure. So to reduce this complexity, the way is to fix one of the variables, say pressure. Now, and discuss the phase diagram at constant pressure. Now the question is, why we are fixing only pressure? Why we can't fix temperature? So the answer is this fixing pressure is satisfactory as most of the phase changes of importance occur at atmospheric pressure. So you can so we will discuss the phase diagram at constant pressure. So now the phase rule will be of which is condensed phase rule can be represented as F dash is equals to C minus P plus 1, in which we have fixed pressure. Okay, so now this will be easy to represent, and this is known as condensed phase rule. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, the condensed phase rule is given by the formula. So the correct option will be option second, because this also equals to, you can say F is equals to C minus P plus 1. So this is the correct answer. If it is asking about simple just phase rule, so the correct answer will be what? This option, that is F is equals to C minus P plus 2. These both are incorrect. Okay, let's consider next question. Viscosity of magma increases with. Viscosity of magma is its resistance to flow. Now, viscosity increases with increase in amount of SiO2, or you can aluminum or SiO2. Okay, by increasing silica and aluminum in a magma, the viscosity increases. While by increasing H2O in magma, the depolymerization occurs, and because of depolymerization, it decreases the viscosity. Depolymerization is that in which adding water breaks oxygen bond in magmatic network, and because of this, viscosity of magma decreases. Okay, so let's consider first option, increase in magnesium. Increasing magnesium increases the basicity of magma, and because of basicity of magma increases, the fluidity will also increase, and since fluidity increase, viscosity will decrease. Increase in aluminum or increase in silicon will increases acidity of magma, and because magma become more acidic, so viscosity will increase. And increase in H2O, as I told you, depolymerization takes place, and because of depolymerization, viscosity decreases. Okay, so the correct option is increase in aluminum increases the viscosity of magma. Next question is, a magmatic association with felsic and mafic members predominating is termed as. Now, the magmatic association in which there are felsic members as well as mafic members. So, felsic members and mafic members both are distinct minerals phases. Okay, and so you have to tell you have to answer a term which is associated with this magmatic association with felsic and mafic members. So, first one is binomial. So, binomial is what? Binomial is a probability distribution of the number of outcomes of a particular kind where one of the two outcomes is possible. So this is clearly not the correct answer. As far as bimagmatic and bipetrotectonic is concerned, these words are just used to, I think, just used to confuse the aspirant, because I have not gone through these type of words in geology literature. If you know something about bimagmatic and bipetrotectonic, you please comment down below. Next one is bimodal. Bimodal means a distribution characterized by two distinct populations. Now in this question there are two populations, that is felsic members and mafic members. So clearly this defines bimodal. This defines this question. Okay, so the correct answer of this question is bimodal. Next question is, of the following which one is not a meteorite? I told you what a meteorite in previous questions. Okay, so now we have to tell which one is not a meteorite. So first one is chondrite. Chondrite is a stony meteorites composed of chondrules. Impactite is a metamorphic rock produced during the impact of meteorite. Okay, and it is occurred in shock metamorphism or impact metamorphism. So basically impactite is not a meteorite, it is a metamorphic rock. So okay, this is a meteorite. Achondrite are also stony meteorites, and these are without chondrules. Okay, difference between chondrite and achondrite is, chondrite and achondrite both are stony meteorites, but chondrite composed of chondrules and achondrite are without chondrules. Now siderolite is a type of stony iron meteorites with equal quantity of nickel, iron and basic silicate. Okay, so basically chondrite, achondrite and siderolite, these all are type of meteorite, but impactite is a metamorphic rock formed by impact metamorphism. Okay, so this is the correct answer. as far as this question is concerned. Impactite is the correct answer. Next question is, dacite is the volcanic equivalent of. Okay, so to answer this question, we should know all volcanic equivalents of all these four plutonic igneous rock. Granite, volcanic equivalent of granite is rhyolite. Volcanic equivalent of cyanite is trachyte. Volcanic equivalent of diorite is andesite. While volcanic equivalent of granodiorite is dacite. And the question is asking about dacite is the volcanic equivalent of. So the correct answer is granodiorite, option number 4. Okay. Next question is, in a phase diagram, the phase rule of an invariant point is defined by. In question 85, I told you f is, f is variance point, or number of degree of freedom. So if f equals to 0, that is variance is 0, then this point is known as invariant point. If f is equals to 1, that is degree of freedom is 1, then this point is known as univariant point. If f is equals to 2, that is degree of freedom is equals to 2, this point is known as divariant point. And if f equals to 3, that is degree of freedom is equals to 3, this will known as trivariant, or you can say multivariant. Okay, so a degree of freedom more than 2 when the point is known as multivariant point. Okay, so here the correct answer is, the question is asking about invariant point, and the correct answer is f equals to 0. This is invariant point. Okay, at invariant point, all of the three phases coexist with each other. That is liquid, solid, and melt coexist with each other. Okay. Okay guys, that's it for today. If you like it, please press the like button, subscribe, and if you have not done yet, and share among your friends. Okay, let's meet in next lecture. Thank you.